Today I want to talk about calculating probabilities. There are two types of probabilities that we'll talk about. The first are discrete probabilities. These are very likely the ones that come immediately to mind when we think about probabilities. They tend to be compatible with our thinking about games of chance, which tend to motivate a lot of our thinking about probabilities in general. Calculating the probability of getting a particular number of a set of numbers on a die is a discrete probability because there are only a few options. Even if we had a crazy Dungeons and Dragons die, there is still a finite and relatively small, say 20, number of possibilities. Calculating the probability of flipping a coin is the same. There are only two possibilities for the outcome. First, we'll talk about calculating the probability of unrelated events. Oftentimes, we might want to calculate the probability of a series of events happening. We have a bit of intuition for how this works. If we think about low probability events, for example, getting hit by lightning and winning the lottery, we know that even though both are quite unlikely events, having both happen to us is even less likely. In unrelated events, where the outcome of one event has no bearing on the outcome of the other, we can calculate the probability of two events happening as the product of their individual probabilities. Think of two events. Event A is rolling a 6 on a fair six-sided die, and B is drawing a spade from a well-shuffled standard deck of cards. The probability of drawing a spade doesn't change depending on the outcome of the roll of the die and vice versa. This means that the two events are independent or unrelated. We know the theoretical probabilities of the events A, which is 1 over 6, and B, which is 1 over 4. The probability of A and B, the probability of both events happening, is 1 over 4 times 1 over 6 equals 0.25 times 0.1667, which is 0.0417. Note that this is much lower than either of the individual event probabilities. There are many instances where this will come in handy for us later on.